The stars looked like tiny dots against the black canvas of space as the alien ship Seeker of Knowledge moved slowly toward the solar system. It had been 500,000 years since any intelligent life had visited this part of the galaxy. The ship was home to 32 aliens from 12 different species, all working together to study old worlds. Commander Zix stood on the bridge, his four eyes blinking in sequence as he looked at the blue-green planet on the main screen. Earth, the legendary homeworld of humans, a species that had simply vanished without explanation 500,000 years ago. His scaled skin reflected the blue light from the screen as he turned to his science officer. "Begin scanning procedures," he said. "Let's see what secrets this ancient world holds." The science officer, a tall insect-like being named Frill, clicked her mandibles together in acknowledgement. Her long fingers danced across the control panel. "Commander," she said after a moment, her voice translator giving a musical quality to her words. "We're picking up unusual energy readings from behind the fourth planet." Zix tilted his head. This was unexpected. According to all historical records, humans had never established significant outposts beyond their moon. "Show me," he ordered. The screen changed to display Mars, the red planet, and behind it, something that shouldn't be there. A structure. Massive, clearly artificial, and definitely not natural to this system. "Move us closer," Zix said. His heart analog beat faster in his chest. This could be the discovery of a lifetime. As they approached, the structure became clearer. It was a space station, enormous in size, with smooth lines that spoke of advanced engineering. Most surprising of all, it appeared to be perfectly preserved, as if it had been built yesterday and not hundreds of thousands of years ago. "It's of human design," said Kelvorin, the youngest member of the crew. His gray skin flushed purple with excitement. "But it's far more advanced than anything in our records about human technology." The Seeker of Knowledge moved alongside the station. Up close, they could see strange symbols etched into its hull, not the standard human writing from the historical archives, but something new. "Prepare a boarding team," Zix decided. "Full environmental suits. We don't know what we might find inside." 6 hours later, Zix led a team of 5 researchers through the airlock and into the station. Their boots made soft clanking sounds on the metal floor. The interior lights came on automatically as they entered, surprising everyone. "It still has power," whispered Dr. Lan, the team's technology expert. After all this time, they moved slowly through corridors that seemed designed for beings of human size. Everything was clean, without dust or decay. It was as if the station had been frozen in time, waiting for visitors. In what appeared to be the main control room, Kelvoran approached a console with curious symbols. "These markings are similar to late-period human language, but with significant differences," he said. His four-fingered hand reached out, touching one of the symbols. Instantly, the room changed. Lights dimmed, and a figure appeared in the center of the room. A human female, projected as a three-dimensional image. She had light brown skin and short dark hair. "Welcome to Waypoint Station," the image said in perfect galactic standard, a language that hadn't existed when humans disappeared. "I am Lisa Carter, director of the Earth Continuity Project." The team stood frozen in shock. Not only was this station still operational, but it contained technology far beyond what humans should have possessed, and it somehow knew the modern galactic language. "This station has been programmed to activate upon detection of sentient visitors," the image of Lisa continued. "If you are seeing this message, then the conditions have been met, and it is time for humanity to return." Zix felt a chill run along his spine ridges. Return? From where? And how could this message know their language? "What you are about to learn will change the understanding of galactic history forever," Lisa said, her image smiling slightly. "Humanity never went extinct. We simply chose to disappear." The alien research team stood frozen as the hologram of Lisa Carter continued to speak. Her voice was calm and clear, as if she were having a normal conversation with them. 500,000 years ago, humanity faced a choice, she said. We had detected signs of emerging intelligent life throughout the galaxy, including many of your species. Her eyes seemed to look directly at each member of the team. We also discovered something else, a threat that could destroy all life if we remained on our current path. Zix found his voice. What threat? And how are you speaking our language? The hologram smiled. This interface is designed to access and adapt to whatever language is currently being used by its audience. As for the threat, that information will be revealed when necessary. She paused. What matters now is that humanity made a decision. Rather than risk influencing the natural development of other intelligent species or exposing them to the danger we discovered, we chose to leave known space. Kelvoran stepped forward, his scientific curiosity overcoming his shock. Leave? To where? There were no records of mass human evacuation or colony ships. We went beyond the reaches of what was then known space. Lisa explained. We established new homes far from the galactic center, in regions no other species had yet explored. We developed technologies that allowed us to hide our presence completely. The historical records showing our extinction were deliberately created to ensure we would not be sought. Dr. Lan was scanning the hologram with her instruments. This technology is remarkable, she muttered. The projection appears solid, and the interactive program is responding to our specific questions with unique answers. This isn't a simple recorded message. You are correct, Lisa replied, turning toward Dr. Lan. I am an advanced artificial intelligence, created to serve as the guardian of this station until the proper time. And what time is that? Asked Zix. Lisa's expression became more serious. The conditions have been met. We are returning. The words hung in the air, heavy with implication. A species thought extinct for 500,000 years was coming back. What did that mean for the galaxy? 2 weeks later, Zix stood before the Galactic Council on the central world of Nexus Prime. The huge chamber was filled with representatives from every major species in the known galaxy. Some looked concerned, others skeptical. We have verified the authenticity of the station, Zix explained. It contains technology far beyond our current understanding. The artificial intelligence claims humanity will soon return to known space. Preposterous, said Council Leader Drav, a tall being with translucent skin that showed his 3 hearts beating. Humans have been gone for 500 millennia. No species simply vanishes and then returns. With respect, Zix replied. The evidence suggests otherwise. From the side of the chamber, a voice called out. Commander Zix is right. A stocky figure stood up. It was John Bell, representative of the Arcturus colonies. We should prepare for their return. Based on what? Scoffed Drav. A hologram ensemble technology. Perhaps it's just the last echo of a dead civilization. The debate continued for hours, but in the end, the council voted to dismiss the warning. Only Admiral Calaven of the Galactic Defense Force approached Zix after the meeting. I believe you, she said quietly, her 4 arms crossed over her chest. And I'm concerned. If humans truly are returning after all this time, they must have advanced far beyond us. What do they want? And why now? Zix had been asking himself the same questions. The AI mentioned a threat. Something humanity discovered before they left. Perhaps that's why they're coming back. Admiral Calaven looked troubled. I can't provide official support, but I can give you resources to continue your investigation. Return to the station. Learn everything you can. As Zix team prepared to leave Nexus Prime, news reached them of strange energy readings detected near 16 major systems across the galaxy. Something was happening, just as the hologram had promised. Humanity was making its move. 3 months passed with no further signs of human activity. Many on Nexus Prime began to think that Commander Zix discovery had been misinterpreted. Perhaps the station was just an ancient relic with a malfunctioning message system. The galaxy returned to its normal routines, and reports of strange energy readings were filed away as unexplained anomalies. Then everything changed in a single moment. It happened during the middle work cycle on Nexus Prime. The sky above 16 major worlds across the galaxy lit up with swirling blue light. Massive wormholes opened in space, perfect circles of energy that tore through the fabric of reality. Traffic control centers across the galaxy went into emergency mode. Defense systems activated automatically. From each wormhole emerged a single ship. The vessels were unlike anything seen before. Sleek, silver crafts that moved with impossible grace. They were clearly of human design, but far more advanced than any human ship in historical records. On Nexus Prime, the planetary defense grid activated, targeting the unknown vessel. Energy weapons powered up, missile systems locked on. But before they could fire, every defense system across the planet simply shut down. Not damaged or destroyed, just turned off, as if by a master switch. Similar reports came in from the other worlds. No attacks, no hostile actions, but all defense systems had been neutralized without a shot being fired. Across all communication channels, on every device capable of receiving transmissions, a message began to play. The face of a human male appeared, middle-aged with short gray hair and a serious expression. "I am Admiral Frank Miller of the Earth Directorate," he said in perfect galactic standard. "We come in peace, but we will not be ignored again." The transmission continued, explaining that representatives from Earth wished to meet with the Galactic Council to discuss matters of grave importance. The ships would remain in orbit until arrangements could be made. Panic spread across Nexus Prime. The Galactic Council convened an emergency session, but arguments broke out immediately. Some wanted to try to destroy the human vessels. Others wanted to welcome them. And many simply didn't know what to think about the return of a species thought extinct for 500,000 years. In the diplomatic court building, a young worker named Sam Wright was called to the office of the chief diplomat. Sam had studied ancient human culture as a hobby, not a common interest, but one that suddenly made him valuable. "We need someone who understands humans," the chief diplomat said to Sam. "Someone who can help establish communication protocols. You're the closest thing we have to an expert." Sam felt his stomach tighten with nervousness. "I've only studied their old records. These humans might be completely different after 500,000 years. It's still more than anyone else knows," the chief diplomat insisted. "You'll work with Commander Six Turtle's team. They've been recalled from their mission and are on their way back to Nexus Prime." Across the galaxy, similar scenes played out. The arrival of human ships created fear, excitement, and confusion. Media channels were filled with speculation. Religious groups declared it the fulfillment of ancient prophecies. Military leaders worried about the implications of technology that could disable planetary defenses without effort. On the human ship orbiting Nexus Prime, Admiral Frank Miller looked out at the planet below. Beside him stood a woman in a formal gray uniform. "They're scared," said the woman. Miller nodded. "That's understandable, Ambassador Young. We did disappear for 500,000 years. Do you think they'll listen about the Devourer?" she asked. "They'll have to," Miller replied grimly. "We've detected signs of it in 16 systems already. That's why we chose those locations for our return. If we don't act quickly, this galaxy will face the same threat that nearly destroyed us before we left." Ambassador Kate Young nodded. "Let's hope they believe us. We need allies this time, not just our own strength." 1 week after the human ships appeared, the Galactic Council agreed to meet with the human representatives. They chose the neutral world of Epsilon IV for the summit. It was a small planet with beautiful blue oceans and green continents, far from any major population centers. If things went badly, damage would be limited. Ships from all major galactic powers arrived, carrying diplomats, military leaders, and scientific experts. Security was tight, though everyone knew their weapons were probably useless against human technology. The tension in the air was thick enough to cut with a knife. The human ship landed in an open field near the meeting facility. It made no sound as it touched down, no blast of engines or rush of air. It simply settled onto the ground as if it weighed nothing at all. A door opened in its smooth side, and a ramp extended to the ground. 5 humans walked out. 4 wore simple gray uniforms with small colored bands on the shoulders. Leading them was a woman with short brown hair and confident eyes. This was Ambassador Kate Young, the first living human any other species had seen in 500,000 years. Inside the large meeting hall, representatives from 47 species waited. Some whispered to each other, others sat in silence. All eyes turned to the door as the humans entered. Sam Wright stood with Commander Zix Terrell near the entrance. He had been studying human expressions and body language for days, trying to prepare for this moment. The humans looked remarkably like their historical records, though they moved with a fluid grace that seemed almost unnatural. "They don't seem very different," Sam whispered to Zix Terrell. "Physically, perhaps," the commander replied. "But we have no idea how their minds work after so much time." Council Leader Drav called the meeting to order. His voice echoed through the hall. "We welcome the representatives of Earth to this emergency summit. We have many questions about your unexpected return." Ambassador Young stepped forward. Her voice was clear and carried easily through the room. "We thank the Galactic Council for agreeing to meet with us. We understand our arrival has caused concern. For that, we apologize, but time is of the essence." "Why have you returned now, after 500,000 years?" asked Drav. "We left to protect both ourselves and the emerging species of this galaxy," Young explained. "We had encountered something dangerous, something that nearly destroyed us. We called it the Devourer." Murmurs spread through the crowd. Young continued, "We have spent our time in isolation, developing in star systems far from the galactic core. We have watched and waited, advancing our technology and understanding of the universe. Your technology is clearly beyond anything we possess," said Admiral Kiloven. "Your ships neutralize our defense systems without effort." A human man stepped forward. He had kind eyes and a strong jaw. "I am Steve Harris, Chief of Science. We disabled your weapons as a precaution, not as a threat. We could have done much more if our intentions were hostile." "Why should we believe you?" asked a representative from the Jean Collective, a species known for their distrust of others. Ambassador Young touched a small device on her wrist. A 3-dimensional image appeared in the center of the room, a swirling pattern of light that seemed to move with purpose and intelligence. "Because the Devourer has returned," she said. "This is a recording of its energy signature. We've detected it in 16 systems across the galaxy, the same systems where we chose to make our first appearance." The room fell silent. "The Devourer is not a biological life form," Young continued. "It's an entity that exists primarily as energy and information. It consumes civilizations by turning their technologies against them. It has been responsible for multiple extinction events throughout galactic history, always targeting civilizations that reach a specific technological threshold." Sam Wright felt a chill run down his spine. He glanced at Commander Zix Terrell, whose 4 eyes were wide with concern. "We are here," Ambassador Young said, "to form an alliance against this threat. Humanity cannot fight it alone. Neither can the rest of the galaxy. But together, we might have a chance." The meeting room on Epsilon IV fell silent after Ambassador Young's revelation about the Devourer. Many representatives looked skeptical, while others appeared deeply troubled. Council Leader Drav raised his 3-fingered hand. "You claim this entity has caused multiple extinction events, yet we have no records of such occurrences," he said. Steve Harris stepped forward again. "The Devourer is careful. It leaves little evidence. The civilizations it destroys often appear to have fallen due to natural disasters, wars, or technological accidents." Another human joined them at the front of the room. He was tall and had a serious face with a small scar above his right eye. "I'm Jack Parker, Military Strategy Director," he said. "We've studied the Devourer for 500,000 years. It targets species that reach a specific level of technological development, a level that many of your worlds are now approaching. Jack touched a control on his wrist device, and a new hologram appeared. It showed a timeline with blinking lights representing different civilizations rising and falling across the galaxy. Each of these lights represents a civilization that reached that technological threshold and then mysteriously collapsed. Jack explained, "Most of you believe these were natural extinctions or the results of war. They weren't." Ambassador Young continued, "We first encountered the Devourer on Earth. It began by infiltrating our computer systems, then our automated factories, and finally our defense networks. We nearly destroyed ourselves before we realized an outside force was turning our own technology against us." A scientist from a world called Trollex stood up. Her skin was blue and covered with tiny scales. "If this entity is so dangerous, why not simply warn us before now? Why disappear for 500,000 years?" The Devourer can detect civilizations with advanced communication and energy systems, Steve Harris explained. "By maintaining our presence in the galaxy, we would have drawn it to developing worlds sooner. Our withdrawal gave other species time to evolve naturally." He projected another image showing 16 different star systems. Small red dots pulsed within each one. "These are current signs of Devourer infection," he said. "The early stages are almost impossible to detect without our specialized equipment." To prove their point, the humans brought forward a small device that looked like an ordinary communications unit used throughout the galaxy. Steve Harris activated it, and everyone watched as the unit began to rebuild itself, changing its components and adding new parts. "This unit was exposed to Devourer energy," he explained. "It's no longer just a communications device. It's now building itself into something that would eventually sabotage your networks from within." Even the most doubtful council members looked concerned now. Admiral Calavan spoke up. "If what you say is true, how long do we have?" Jack Parker's face grew grim. "Without intervention, galactic civilization will begin to collapse within 50 years. The Devourer is patient. It works slowly to avoid detection until it reaches a critical mass. Then the end comes quickly." Ambassador Young stepped forward again. "We offer an alliance. We have defensive technologies designed specifically to counter the Devourer. We can help you protect your worlds." "And what do you want in exchange?" asked the Jean representative suspiciously. "Two things," Young replied. "First, acceptance back into the galactic community. We've been alone for too long. And second, access to certain cosmic phenomena for our ongoing research. There are aspects of the Devourer we still don't fully understand." Sam Wright watched the faces of the alien representatives. Some looked relieved at the offer of help. Others seemed suspicious of human motives. A few appeared angry, as if the humans had no right to return after so long away. Commander Zixtarul leaned close to Sam. "What do you think? Are they telling the truth?" Sam studied Ambassador Young's calm face. "I think they are," he said quietly. "But I also think they're not telling us everything. There's something more about why they've chosen to return now." The days following the summit were filled with debate. Most galactic species agreed to accept human help, but not all were convinced. The John Collective, whose ancestors had competed with early humans for resources, refused to believe the Devourer was real. They claimed humans had invented the threat to justify their return and technological superiority. "This is clearly a human trick," said Gronzal, leader of the Jean, at a public broadcast. "They left our galaxy in shame thousands of centuries ago, and now they return with tales of invisible monsters. They only want to control us with fear." 7 other species joined the Jean in rejecting human assistance. They formed a coalition of resistance, refusing to allow human ships or technology in their space. The Galactic Council tried to convince them of the danger, but the divide only grew wider. Sam Wright found himself working closely with the human delegation. His knowledge of ancient human culture helped bridge understanding between species. One morning, as he reviewed files with Jack Parker, An emergency signal interrupted their work. "A John outpost has gone silent," Jack said, his face grim as he read the message. "No communications for the past 12 hours. Within 2 hours, a joint investigation team consisting of Galactic Council security forces and human experts departed for the John outpost. Sam and Commander Zixtarol were invited to join as neutral observers. The human ship reached the outpost in mere minutes, using technology that bent space in ways Sam couldn't understand. What they found chilled everyone to the bone. The entire John population was alive but changed. They moved like sleepwalkers, all working together to modify the planet's main communication array. The massive dish was being transformed into something unrecognizable, with strange patterns and new components that seemed to pulse with energy. "The Devourer," whispered Steve Harris, scanning the array with human instruments. "It's made its first open move." The John workers didn't respond to any communication attempts. They simply continued their work, their eyes empty of awareness. Human specialists in protective suits moved among them, taking readings. "We need to evacuate any unaffected John immediately," ordered Ambassador Young, who had joined the mission. Human ships began landing across the outpost, creating safe corridors for evacuation. During the rescue operation, Commander Zixtarol made a disturbing discovery. He found human monitoring equipment hidden in the outpost's main control center. The devices were weeks old, predating the summit on Epsilon IV. When confronted, Admiral Frank Miller sighed heavily. "We've been monitoring all 16 infected systems for months," he admitted. "We knew the Jan outpost was vulnerable." "You could have prevented this," Sam said, anger rising in his voice. "Why didn't you warn them specifically?" The humans shared a look among themselves. Finally, Jack Parker spoke. "Because we needed proof. Words wouldn't convince the skeptics. They needed to see the Devourers work firsthand. You used them as an example." Commander Zixtarol's voice was filled with shock. "No," Ambassador Young said firmly. "We didn't cause this. The Devourer was already here. We simply knew where it would strike first." In the privacy of the human ship's conference room, Admiral Miller revealed the final truth to Sam and Zixtarol. "Humanity didn't just withdraw from the galaxy. We fought the Devourer before and suffered terrible losses. Our disappearance was part strategic retreat, part quarantine to prevent the entity from following us to our new homes." "Then why return at all?" Sam asked. "Why not stay hidden?" Miller's face showed genuine sadness. "Because Earth itself, hidden and shielded for eons, is showing signs of Devourer infection. Our most sacred world, protected by our most advanced technology, has been compromised." The truth hit Sam like a physical blow. "You need allies," he said, understanding at last. "You need us as much as we need you." "Yes," Miller nodded. "Alone, none of us can defeat it. Together, we might have a chance. That's why we've returned after all this time. Not as saviors, but as fellow survivors seeking allies in a war for survival." News of the Jan outpost disaster spread quickly across the galaxy. Images of the affected John workers, moving like empty shells while building strange technology, convinced even the most skeptical species. Within days, all remaining resistance to human help vanished. The threat was real, and it was growing. A new emergency meeting was called on Nexus Prime. Representatives from every known species attended, including the previously resistant John, who now desperately sought protection. The mood was somber but determined. "We accept your offer of alliance," said Council Leader Drav to Ambassador Young. "What do we do now?" Admiral Frank Miller stepped forward. "Now we show you what humanity has truly become." He sent a command from his wrist device. Outside, in the space above Nexus Prime, something incredible happened. A massive section of seemingly empty space began to shimmer and change. A gigantic cloaking field, spanning millions of kilometers, deactivated to reveal what had been hidden behind it. The Earth Defense Fleet appeared before the astonished eyes of the galaxy. Thousands of ships of various sizes and designs hung in perfect formation. At the center were 6 enormous dreadnoughts, each one named after Earth's ancient continents: Africa, Asia, Europe, North America, South America, and Australia. These vessels were unlike anything the galaxy had ever seen, the pinnacle of human ingenuity developed over 500,000 years of focused evolution and technological advancement. Gasps of awe and fear spread through the assembly as they watched live feeds of the fleet's appearance. Some representatives backed away from the humans in the room, suddenly aware of just how powerful humanity truly was. "We could have conquered the galaxy upon our return," Miller said calmly. "Instead, we offer partnership. This fleet will deploy to key systems, establishing defensive perimeters against the Devourer. But we need your help too." Over the next few weeks, human scientists worked alongside the brightest minds from other species. They shared knowledge, developing new countermeasures against the Devourer. Sam Wright found himself coordinating communications between different research teams, amazed at how quickly the former enemies were now working together. Then came the news everyone feared. The Devourer had fully manifested at the galactic core, creating a massive energy storm that threatened to spread outward to populated systems. The joint fleet of human and alien ships moved to confront it. The battle was unlike any conventional war. The Devourer attacked by turning ships and weapons against their own crews. Communication systems broadcasted fear and doubt directly into the minds of fighters. Systems failed in impossible ways. Aboard the human dreadnought Africa, Captain Mary Hudson watched her sensors show Allied ships being taken over one by one. The containment strategy they had planned was failing. "We need to try the resonance disruptor," she said to her crew. "It's our only chance." The resonance disruptor was an experimental weapon developed by the Joint Human-Alien Research Team. It was designed to create a specific energy pattern that could disrupt the Devourer's consciousness, but using it meant getting dangerously close to the entity. "The other ships can't get close enough," her first officer warned. "The Devourer will take control of their systems. Then we go alone," Hudson decided. The Africa moved forward, its advanced shields barely holding against the Devourer's attacks. At the heart of the ship, alien and human scientists made final adjustments to the weapon. The ship shuddered as systems began to fail. Captain Hudson activated the disruptor just as the Devourer began breaking through their defenses. A wave of energy expanded outward, creating a pattern that countered the entity's own vibrations. The Devourer's form began to fracture and contract. It wasn't destruction. The entity was too powerful for that, but containment. The Devourer was forced into a state of dormancy, trapped within a field of resonating energy. As the Allied fleet regrouped, a new understanding spread throughout the galaxy. Humanity had returned not as conquerors, but as equals with a unique perspective. Multiple races would now work together to guard against the Devourer's eventual return, while exploring the technologies humanity had developed during their long absence. On the observation deck of the rebuilt Earth station, Commander Zix Tarl stood with Admiral Miller and Sam Wright. Below them, the blue planet Earth glittered like a jewel. After 500,000 years, humanity had come home, and the galaxy would never be the same.